what a dork, right? Wearing this goofy thing on my head, got multiple pairs of glasses on. What's going on here today in this episode? First of all, my name is Gary, this is Rock Solid Productions. I want to take a second to welcome you all to the channel, especially if this is your first time. We have some neat things to talk about, some kind of personal things, and this is going to be kind of a serious video, but also hopefully something that, you know, at the end, we definitely have some fun coming out of. So for those who are unaware, and even for those of you who were in 2021, I was actually struck with the bout of Bell's palsy. And it's one of those things that can happen at any time. There can be a number of different cause factors and everything that happens to it. And generally, just in a nutshell, what Bell's palsy is, it's a facial paralysis that affects one or the other side of the face. And what it can cause is facial drooping, an inability to blink your eye, the inability to control one side of your mouth. So you can't smile, you can't frown. It can be kind of scary. Now, since then, as you can see here, I have full movement of my eyes. I can blink, no problem. That was actually, for me, the first indication that I was having a problem was I couldn't blink my left eye. I couldn't move the left side of my mouth up and down. I couldn't smile. Since then, I quickly, and if you ever have Bell's palsy, time, it's almost like a stroke. Time is your best ally. Get into a doctor as quickly as possible. Get on medication. The faster you can have it diagnosed and start treatment, the likelier you are to be, kind of like me, have a more full recovery period. Now, since I did have Bell's palsy, I have had a few lingering issues. The biggest for me right now is the fact my vision is still whacked out. That's why you see me with this here. If you follow the channel for any period of time, you know one of my favorite things to do is mod different consoles and systems. HDMI mods. I did an HDMI mod on our top loader NES here. RGB mod kits with the N64 and the Super NES. The wonderful Voltar has a great kit. Cannot, first of all, thank him enough for everything he does for this community. He has helped so many people, and he makes an amazing kit that is easy to install. There's other mods that I'm waiting to do, and one that I've tried that I've screwed up multiple times. So my vision basically, for me to the camera, like I can make out the screen on the side of my camera somewhat, but before I had Bell's palsy where that would have been crisp or maybe just a little bit blurry, I can't make out any details looking at the screen next to the camera anymore. It has screwed up my vision. Now, since then I've gone to the eye doctor. I have a new pair of readers and a new pair of like everyday daily drivers. And what we have found is that my left eye, the side of my face that was affected with Bell's palsy, that is considerably weaker than what it was before. And while I was going through Bell's palsy, it was taxing my right eye, which has caused issues with that. That being said, when I go to try to solder onto different video game systems now, I can't see details on the board like I used to. That's why, like, I picked up this goofy thing from Harbor Freight, figuring, you know, I would have multiple levels of, you know, zoom and enhance, kind of like on the Enterprise, where I could go ahead and be able to see what I was doing. No, it didn't do it for me. I bought, you know, a set of these guys here where, you know, it's an eyelet that jewelers will use. Doesn't help me enough. What I need is something that can take a small shot of electronics, make it bigger for me to see. That's just where I am right now. And that's why I've had multiple people reach out to me, ask, hey, can you do a mod for my system? I'm not doing any mods right now because of the fact I don't want to screw anyone else's system up. I've screwed up 4 Nintendo 64s trying to do the Pixel FX mod. That's a mod that a year ago I would not have had an issue with. Enough of my sob story, but that leads us to where we are at today. This is basically an LCD magnifier designed specifically for soldering. It promises to have a 7-inch display that will allow me to go ahead and be able to see details kind of like I used to be able to, and maybe get back into doing some light mod work. So what we're going to do in this episode, we're going to unbox this, we're going to see how good the quality is, see how much of a pain it is to put together, and see, can we get back to doing some mod work? Let's get started. So taking a look at the outside of the box, I bought this off of Banggood.com. It was about $65, $70, I think is what I paid for it. A couple things that caught my eye, and there were a number of them on the site, but why I went with this one is the fact that it's a 7-inch screen, and that they do say that it is a 12 megapixel camera that this has on here. So those were some of the main features that I was looking for. I was actually surprised to see that the box that it came in was this small. I was expecting something a little bit bigger, but then again, such is life, right? So, portable LCD microscope, the main part of the display right here. Actually, it's pretty decent size. Come on, you. Oh, this is embarrassing. There we go. So we get that out, and then the base should be underneath, I would assume. Oh yeah, that's a solid block of aluminum, I'll tell you that much. And they sent me an AC power supply for another country. Thanks, guys. That's really useless. Now this just appears to be USB, so I will use a regular USB power brick, but yeah. Useless. Thank you, Banggood. So then you have this little mount here, which will attach to here and allow us to adjust the height up and down. It's actually pretty smooth how that works. I'm liking that. The base itself, and then, yep, there's a USB power cable. Let's get this out of here. And it looks like you thread this part down into the base. I know there are instructions, but we don't need no stinking instructions, am I right, guys? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to set it to be positioned about there, and this should be able to, yep, that screws down so that we can go ahead and tighten that to square that up here once we get it there. There we go. But essentially what will happen, it looks like, is our microscope will go in that way, and then we'll be able to position it to see what's on the screen. And this is for our good friend John Riggs. Oh yeah. Now one thing I do want to check and see two things. First of all, so the micro USB gets plugged in here. You can record to a micro SD card, it looks like, if you want, and you can adjust the LED light brightness. There are LEDs on the bottom of here. I want to see if it has a battery on it. I don't remember if it did, and it doesn't look like it does, or if it does need to go ahead and be charged up. So we're going to slide this out of the way for just a moment. Wow, that's huge print. That is really huge print. That is really super huge print. Check that out. So main parameters, the main specs, 12 megapixel camera, 7-inch high definition display at probably 720p, magnification 1 to 1200, distance between object 10 millimeter to infinity, plug-in or built-in ultra lithium battery, so that battery's got to be completely dead, 16 languages on the menu. So all right. Advantage 2, most other microscopes are 2-gear magnification, either too large or too small. There will always be visual regret. This is a digital microscope with continuous zoom and zoom. Yes, zoom and zoom, because that is what you need, is zoom and zoom. Chinglish, dear Lord. Resolution 1080 HD, 720p VGA, so that's good. Power. Press the power button for 2 seconds to turn it on and off. The M key is the function key. There's a screensaver, so on and so on and so forth. In photo mode, you can actually take pictures if you want to, and then you can actually go ahead and record as well. But yeah, the main thing at this point, I just have to grab a wrench to loosen this bolt up. This is hefty. This has quite a bit of heft. So once I am done here, I'm going to grab a wrench. We're going to adjust this and open that up a little bit so we can adjust our angle of attack. Wait, oh, there we go. Don't need to do it. It's just really stinking tight. It's tight like a toiger. So you have a couple thumb screws here. What I like, if you see the blue that's in here, those are little plastic bits so that you're not screwing a hard metal bit into the plastic housing on here. It just drops right in. Tighten it down so it doesn't move. And again, you can adjust it up or down using that. So kind of feel like I have Perceptor on the bench. Transformers joke for Transformers nerds. Yep, we have no go-go power here. So we are going to go ahead. Yep, we have that there. So we have just a standard USB power cable coming in here. and this is micro, not to be confused with Dirty Jobs micro. Wow, that's actually pretty bright. What I'm going to do, I'm going to angle the display up here for a second. Oh, nice photo. Holy cow, I like that a lot. That's amazing. So let's back this up here. So that's all the way up. So I'll give you a look at the menu here. You can change the resolution. Let's go in here. 1080, 720, or VGA, and you just use the up or down to adjust that. We want 7 or 1080. Cyclic record. I guess it won't go in there because I don't have an SD card in here. High dynamic range, you can turn on or off, it looks like. So we're going to turn it on just so I can see a little bit better. Exposure, and this is where it actually adjusts the exposure on the camera versus adjusting the LED intensity. You can do a date stamp as well. You can do an auto power off frequency. So for PAL or NTSC, we want NTSC, there's 60. Auxiliary to the line, I have no idea what that is. Language, date, time, format. Okay, you can format an SD card. You can go and reset the default settings, firmware versions, LCD brightness. You can turn it off, have it go dark after. Basically, this is to turn the screensaver on and off. So 30 seconds a minute, 2 minutes. Auto power off is off. I guess this would turn off the LEDs then underneath. So what we are looking at here, this is the manual itself. And you can see the detail on the printing. That's actually really impressive. And we can go further down. What we're going to do, I'm going to grab a circuit board and we're going to look at it underneath here. All right, so I just recently added a terrible game to my collection. This is the 25th anniversary Star Trek. Let's see if we can't focus that. There we go. For the NES. And second best captain ever. Cisco is the best. But anyways, so what we're going to do, I actually have the board right here. So let's take a look at the pins, at the cleanliness. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay the board down. I'll just adjust the focus. Wow, that's actually really crisp. I'm liking that. Now let's say I want to get a little bit closer look. Say I've got something that doesn't look quite right. And we get a little bit of waviness, and I'll have to refocus here just because my depth of field has changed. So you can see here like where the pins are showing where, and that way when we go through and we clean it with a 1-up card, you know, what we kind of need to address. Let's go ahead, let's clean it with a 1-up card. Oh, that's awesome too. So I can also leave the camera all the way up. If I press the up and down arrow, I'm getting, so there's 4 times zoom, there's 3, 2, 1. So that is how it zooms in and out. Oh, that's awesome. I like that a lot. Okay, that's awesome. Something I wish they would have covered in the manual. So let's take a look at our fluid side of our 1-up card. It's actually kind of neat. Okay, so all we've done, a couple passes. You can still see it's a little bit wet, but you can see that, you know, it's still showing wear marks here and there, and that's actually, I would say, etched into the metal pins. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do both sides. This is actually really neat. I like this a lot. I wish I had a micro SD card at the ready here. I should have been more prepared to see how the recording works. That actually turned out pretty nice. You can see how nice and clean that is. Let's come up here too, just so you can kind of see the solder points. We'll focus a little bit more. There we go. Those are actually pretty clean looking. It still needs to focus a little bit more. There we go. But there you can see the traces and everything, and it would be able to, you know, follow them where they go. Let's take a look at the front side. Actually, we'll flip it around so you can read it right side up versus upside down. So there is one of the ROM chips. There's another one, or those may not be ROM, that may be memory. And then you have your, I think that's probably the lockout chip, the rabbit chip right there. It's an MMC3 chip, so we know that. But yeah, now what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to grab the Bright Boy, focus, and see, although, you know, looking at it, ooh, what is that blob there? What is that blob right there? Let's zoom in. So looking at it, and we're going to bring in just a pointer here. That little dealio right there. That, like, I can see it with just my eye, but I can't exactly tell what it is. So again, we're going to grab the Bright Boy, and we're going to see if we can't clean that up. We'll give you all a little bit closer look here too, as we apply our Bright Boy. Okay. Yep. There we have it all on the pins itself, and I'm just going to take a cotton swab, and we're just going to work it in a little bit. Don't know if you can see, there's the cotton swab. Not terribly dirty, but not pristine clean, so it is pulling gunk off of here. And I'm not seeing that mark on here anymore. We'll dry this off and we'll hit it with the 1-up card again. Yeesh. Yeesh. Look at that. Ugh. But going side to side, look how, well, we've got a little bit, that could be a scratch. Nope, we got it off. That was just a fiber. Look how much cleaner those pins are. My goodness. Now for comparison, I only did those. Look at those. So you're seeing the insertion marks right there where they have been. You can still kind of see them, but they're very faint. And again, that goop, whatever that was over around here, is now gone. So we're going to go ahead, we'll just use what we had on this one to wipe off that side too. Look at that. Look how shiny and clean that is. Now let's back this out. I'll refocus a little bit. Now you can kind of see the sideways marks on the pin. So that's where we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the 1-up card. You can also see, or at least I can, I don't know if it shows up, but if you look right there, that is some fiber from our cotton swab that got left behind. That's why I don't like using cotton swabs for cleaning cartridges and whatnot. It always leaves a little bit of fiber behind. So we will go ahead, focus. That is one annoying thing, is the fact that it does not autofocus. That would be a really nice feature, and I'm sure more expensive ones have it. The other thing I want to show you real quick too, look at that blob of stuff there. That's just dried Bright Boy. That's why you want to clean after you've cleaned, essentially. Those are some pretty clean pins. Like I say, you can still see wear marks. They're not perfect, but they're pretty good looking. Focus here just a little bit. Yeah, autofocus would definitely be advantageous. But that blob of gunk is all gone. Now one final thing I want to just look at, we're not going to fix, but I want to look at, is I actually have, I'll zoom you out here for a second. So this is my N64 that I had done my original RGB mod from Voltar with, that I also tried to install the Pixel FX mod on it, and it no longer outputs video. So what I want to do is I want to look and see if I have pins that are bridged underneath here, and check out some of the other pins underneath. So come down a little bit just so that the light is a little bit better on it. Focus. So what I'm looking for is if there's any solder between pins here. Let's give you a closer look. Again, the whole reason for this is just so I can get more light on the pins. and I'm not seeing anything jumping out at me. I don't know what that blob of gunk is. That's like right there. So the other thing I'm looking at too is just to make sure that I've got contact between the pads and the pins. At this point we're going to come in. That's as far as we can zoom in, I guess. Looking like there's some possible bridging here. But other than that, yeah, maybe a little bit right there too. So that may, a little bit there and there. So that may be what was causing some of my issues. Now let's come back over here to that pin, or that chip, I mean. Look at the detail. I mean, this is actually pretty good detail, and that's one of the, ooh, that may be a bridge right there as well. That may be flux. I'll have to get in there and clean that up a little bit. So those don't look too terrible, but again, this one here worries me a little bit. And it could just be excess flux. Nope, there's gunk in between there. So that may be causing some of the issues with this install. So we will go through, try to clean that up, and see if this isn't something that I can use and get my conversion done properly. Worst case scenario, I'm going to come through, I'm going to clean this up, and I'll clean up some of those other pins, because I'm not even getting composite out of this right now. I'm getting no video out of this whatsoever. So hopefully with something like this, I can get in here, I can see what I'm doing, and I can basically adjust or repair these sorts of issues. Let's go ahead, let's wrap things up. So in the end, what do I think of the Mustool digital microscope? So by the time this video goes live, our Video Games Monthly video for the month of February 22 will have gone live. And I actually used it in there, and I was really liking what I was seeing. The thing that was frustrating was I couldn't get it to record to the SD card at all. I used it some more, and I used it some more. I actually finished filming this video before I even started with that one. I've completely re-recorded and ditched that first closing where I was going to say, you know, it's okay for what it is, but, you know, kind of keep your eye out. I wouldn't recommend this, not at all. Here's why. So first and foremost, like I mentioned, the SD card recording does not work, no matter what. I did some searching on, you know, different forums, on the internet, and so on and so forth. One thing I saw, make sure you use a Class 10 SD card. I did that. In fact, I bought a brand new one. Still doesn't work. Thinking that it may be something, some devices have issues with SD cards that are too large that just won't read. I bought an 8 gig SD card, wouldn't work. I bought a 32 gig SD card, wouldn't work. No matter what, this will not record to this device. Next up was the fact that I discovered that you can actually use it connected to your computer. I'm like, great, I can record it using OBS or Streamlabs or something like that. At least I can capture footage. The footage looks terrible. All it does is flicker no matter what I do. I change the refresh rate, I change the frame rate, I change the resolution. No matter what, this will not capture decent video into my laptop. Strike two. Strike three for me is the fact that on the initial listing, it contradicts itself, where at least on this one, it says it includes a battery, and down below, further in the listing, it says, oh, if you want a battery, you actually need to buy this version. They're the same price. I've reached out through where I got this, and I've requested an exchange or a refund. It's been 3 days. I have heard nothing. At this point, I'm going to escalate it to PayPal, file a dispute there, because quite honestly, what I bought versus what I got, this does not deliver on the promise, at least completely. Now, if they come back and say it's yours, we can't do a refund, This will still work for me if I am just soldering and looking at it. And for that, like the close-up detail on the PCBs, it's great, it's terrific. But I have no way to capture that footage to do anything with it. So if I want to do something that I'm going to bring to you here on the channel, this is pretty much worthless unless I film guerrilla style with my camera looking straight at the screen, which it gets the job done, but not as great as I would like it to. And quite honestly, I would rather, I'd rather spend my time playing my good friend John Riggs' Yeah Yeah Beavis 2 versus having to mess with this anymore. Fun game, challenging, definitely gets harder the further that you play. But let me know what you think about this overall, and if you haven't checked it out yet, I'll have it linked right up there, our Video Games Monthly Review for February 2022, where you can actually see, like, I was amazed the detail we could make out on the pins. It was wonderful just to see how the pins looked before and after. Now, if you want to see any other soldering things that we've done on the channel, from installing RGB mods, HDMI mods, and a whole lot more, other products that we've used to go ahead and make just our life easier for working on new equipment, those videos are coming up for you right now. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to help support Rock Solid Productions and be a part of our community, there's a number of different ways you can do so. First and foremost, join us over on our Patreon page or become a channel member here on YouTube. By joining through either one of those methods, you get early access to just about all of our video content, exclusive content, and a whole lot more. We also give you shout outs at the end of each and every one of our videos. You can also pick up some awesome Rock Solid Productions swag. We've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and more available through our Teespring store on screen right now too. You can also pick up some of our awesome 3D printed cartridge stands, Amiibo holders, Nintendo DS holders, and more by visiting our 3D printer store on screen right now as well. Links for everything will be down below in a pinned comment. If you want to stay up to date with everything we have going on here at Rock Solid Productions, make sure that you're following us on the different social media networks. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/RockSolidProductions, Instagram at instagram.com/RockSolidProductionsGK, and Twitter at RockSolidStudios. If you're looking to pick this and other retro and modern gaming accessories up, make sure that you head on over to CastlemaniaGames.com. He has a feature over there called Castle Cash, where the more you spend, the more you earn towards future purchases, and Castle Cash is just like cash. He also offers convenient payment plans for more expensive items over $50. Finally, make sure that you use promo code ROCKSOLID10 when you're shopping at CastlemaniaGames.com, as it can save you up to 10% on most items on the website. Again, thank you for watching this episode, and I cannot wait to see you again soon.